Discovered. A child's $500 translation brings hidden wisdom. The Millionaire's incredible shock. In the heart of a struggling Midwestern town, where dreams often collide with harsh realities, 11-year-old Mia was about to change everything. The sound of her mother's heavy boots echoed in the quiet apartment before sunrise, a dismal reminder of how hard they had to fight just to make ends meet. But Mia had a spark, a light that refused to flicker out despite the shadows that loomed over them. With a heart full of passion and a mind eager for adventure, she found herself revered as the town's budding historian when her class was assigned a project highlighting local veterans. As she began interviewing the town's elders, forgotten tales of heroism poured out, rich with emotion. Each story revealed a piece of her community's spirit and resilience, like the World War II veteran whose hands shook from memories, but whose voice remained steady with pride. Mia felt each word resonate deep inside her, igniting a fire that filled her with purpose. The camera clicked, capturing every moment, every wrinkle that told a story of sacrifice and strength, of those who never received the credit they deserved. Before long, her heartfelt presentations and online series caught fire, captivating audiences far beyond her underfunded school. With the click of a button, Mia's footage brought tears to eyes and smiles to faces across the nation. The beauty of her storytelling, layered with the sacrifices and struggles of the local heroes, spoke volumes. The likes and shares poured in like leaves fluttering to the ground in autumn. She couldn't believe it. Then Mr. Hartman, the wealthy millionaire with a familial history tied to the town, watched with astonishment. He was struck by her tales of endurance, realizing that the very struggles he ignored were the same ones Mia and her mother faced daily. Mia's eyes gleamed with dreams of scholarships, of bright futures and possibilities. But just as joy wrapped around her like a warm hug, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. Jealousy simmered among her peers, and those who once cheered her on began to throw stones. Betrayal buzzed in the air as whispers filled the hallways. Friends whispered behind closed doors, plotting to undermine her project. The heartache of it cut through Mia, leaving her breathless as betrayal swept through her community. In a moment of desperation, with her project hanging by a thread, Mia stood before her classmates, her voice quivering but determined. "This isn't just my story, it's ours. It's about courage and unity." Her words hung in the air, a heavy silence settling as she spoke of home and belonging. We're all part of something bigger. If we tear each other down, we fracture the fabric of our community. She poured her heart out, tears pooling in her eyes as she laid bare her passions and fears. But amid her stirring words, the envy only grew. Then, the dark act of sabotage came. Mia stared at the wreckage of her project, feeling despair mixed with unresolved determination. Her heart raced, echoing the question that loomed. Would her small town embrace the changes she had fought for? Or would jealousy tear apart the bond they shared? Hope and fear intertwined, leaving her yearning for the strength of her community, as the possibility of betrayal hung in the air, ready to consume her dreams. Mia sank down into her chair, her shoulders heavy with disappointment. Hadn't she poured her heart into this project? Every ounce of energy, every late night spent editing videos had been for this moment, to shine a light on the heroes of her town. And yet, as she looked around the room, the glares and whispers wrapped around her like a heavy cloak. She couldn't dwell on the anger or the hurt. There was still a sliver of hope, a flicker of light amidst the encroaching shadows. Mia wiped her tears and took a deep breath, determined to reclaim what felt lost. Glancing out the window, she spotted Mr. Hartman's sleek car pulling into the parking lot. A surge of energy coursed through her. Perhaps he could help. As she gathered herself, Mia remembered the conversation they had during one of her earlier interviews. Mr. Hartman had mentioned a scholarship fund he established for students who demonstrated leadership through community service. Could this be her chance? With resolve, she walked to the door and stepped outside into the cool morning air. The sun peeked through the clouds, casting a gentle glow on her path. Each step felt like a heartbeat, rallying her courage. She approached Mr. Hartman just as he exited his vehicle, a puzzled expression crossing his face as he noticed her. "Mia, what brings you here?" he asked, his voice warm and inviting. "Mr. Hartman," she began, her voice steady despite the fluttering in her stomach. "I wanted to talk about my project. It's fallen apart, but I can't give up. Not now." His brow knitted with concern. "I saw what happened. That was unacceptable, Mia. You've done something incredible. Your stories deserve to be heard. I know. But the sabotage, I just don't know how to fix it. I need help, but I want it to be about the community, not just me," she confessed, her eyes searching his for reassurance. Mr. Hartman nodded, a hint of admiration growing in his gaze. "Then let's make it about the community. We can turn this challenge into an opportunity. How about a community event? A day to honor the veterans? We can showcase your work, and I'll match donations to help fund your scholarship." Mia's heart leaped at the idea. "Really? You'd do that?" "Absolutely. We'll gather everyone, let them know their stories matter and that your project is not just yours but ours together. They can't tear us down if we stand strong, side by side." Hope blossomed inside her. This was the kind of change her small town needed. Unity, rather than division. Plans started forming in her mind, bright and bold. "I'll help organize everything," she said, excitement bubbling over. As they spoke about ideas for the event, Mia's heart began to soar with each suggestion. The food, the flags, the stories, every detail filled her with a vision of joy. But she also felt the heavy weight of her peers' potential backlash. Would they join her, or would envy continue to drive a wedge? The moment of clarity hit her, a mixture of fear and exhilaration. If she truly wanted to mend the frayed edges of her community, she needed to reach out to her classmates. She had to address the division. It was time to gather them together, to understand the grievances fueling their jealousy. "Mia," Mr. Hartman interrupted her thoughts. "You've got a lot of work ahead, but I believe in you. We'll show them the beauty that can come from unity." As she nodded with renewed determination, a question lingered in her mind. How would her peers react to the call for unity? Would they be willing to set aside their jealousy and engage? The path ahead seemed daunting, but as Mia looked into Mr. Hartman's encouraging eyes, she felt lighter. This was only the beginning of a new chapter, driven by the stories longing to be shared. The chance to unite awaited her, and with it the hope that transformed dreams into reality. What if the greatest stories had yet to be uncovered, waiting to silence the darkness surrounding her? The sun was a warm brush across Mia's skin as she moved back inside, her heart still racing from her conversation with Mr. Hartman. With each step, determination took root deeper within her. The challenge ahead felt less like a mountain, and more like a series of small hills she could climb, one by one. The school hallway buzzed with the chatter of students, the voices mingling in a symphony of teenage angst and laughter. As she walked through the throng, she caught snippets of her classmates talking about the project she had worked so hard on. It stung, but the whispers no longer felt like daggers. Instead, she saw them as a call to action, a chance to take control of the narrative. Mia stopped at her locker, the cold metal reminding her of the steely resolve she had embraced. She rummaged through her things, pulling out colorful flyers she had designed in anticipation of the community event. They shimmered with bright colors and hopeful words. "Together we stand. A day to honor our heroes." The words gazed back at her like allies ready for battle. "Are you okay, Mia?" It was Sarah, her best friend, with concern etched across her face. Mia smiled, though she could feel the weight of everything still hanging over her. "I'm okay. Actually, I'm kind of excited. Mr. Hartman and I are putting together a community event to honor the veterans." Sarah raised an eyebrow, skepticism weaving through her voice. "Isn't that risky? I mean, after what happened." "I know," Mia replied, her tone firm but gentle. "But this is about more than me now. I want everyone to feel included, to tell their stories. We can be stronger as a group than divided. And what if they don't want to participate? Sarah asked, genuine worry coloring her words. Mia took a breath, searching for the right way to share her vision. What if I reached out, inviting people personally? If they hear firsthand how their involvement matters, maybe we can turn things around. Sarah considered this, her expression softening. I'll help you. I can talk to some of our classmates. If we get a few people on board, it could spark interest. The flicker of excitement climbed higher in Mia's chest. Yes, let's do it. They spent the next hour plotting their approach. Together, they crafted a plan to hold a meeting that invited not only students but their families. They'd share stories and highlight the community spirit that was so easily forgotten in the whispers of jealousy and division. However, as they left the school through the main doors, a knot twisted in Mia's stomach. A group of students loitered outside, eyes narrowed and laughter too loud, the atmosphere tense and brimming with unspoken resentment. She swallowed hard, holding her head a little higher. Mia, called out Trevor, a classmate she hadn't seen much of lately. Still trying to be the hero, huh? You think this event will fix everything? His mocking tone cut through the gathering crowd. There it was, the division, sharper now than ever. Mia felt her heart race as laughter rippled through the group. But as she scanned the faces around her, there were whispers, uncertain glances, and a few nods of understanding. If she was going to change things, she needed to face this. Actually, yes, she called back, surprising herself with her own confidence. It's about giving everyone a chance to be heard. I want to include everyone. Why don't you join us to make our stories matter? The laughter quieted, confusion clouding Trevor's face. In that moment, a hush fell over the crowd. Mia's heart pounded against her ribs. Would they be willing to listen? Or would it shatter her resolve once and for all? As she stood there, the weight of their eyes on her, Mia realized this was the real beginning. Not just for the event, but for her own path. What if, with one simple invitation, she could inspire even the hardest hearts to share their truths? Perhaps now was the time to rediscover the power of storytelling, a power that could illuminate even the darkest corners of their lives. Mia's heart thudded in her chest as the silence pulled tight around her like a cold cloak. She braced herself, catching Sarah's hopeful gaze from the corner of her eye. The tension felt palpable, brewing like a storm as the crowd shifted, weighing her words. She could see Trevor's expression changing, uncertainty erasing the mockery. Come on, we all know this is a bad idea, Trevor started, but his voice was losing its edge, the bravado wavering. Why? Mia shot back. Because it's easier to keep talking behind our backs than to face the truth? Let's break the cycle. Everyone's got a story that matters. How about we start listening? The murmurs in the crowd slowly gained momentum, shifting from jeers to conversations. Some students looked away, immured in their devices. Others exchanged glances filled with curiosity, sharing whispers laced with intrigue. Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady. Mia's right. We can only heal as a community if we stand together. If we share what we've been through, we can help each other. Everyone deserves a platform. Mia's breath caught in her throat, pride swelling as she observed how Sarah's courage ignited her own. Perhaps their dreams of pulling the community together weren't as far-fetched as she'd feared. Trevor crossed his arms, scanning the faces in the crowd. What if no one shows up? What if it's a complete waste of time? But what if they do? Mia piped up, her voice spilling with enthusiasm. What if we gather not just for ourselves, but to honor those who sacrificed for our freedom? This is about making connections, real connections. We owe it to ourselves and each other to try. Something flickered in Trevor's eyes, recognition or perhaps doubt. But the lingering silence cracked open just enough to let a brave voice slip through. Okay then. I'm in. It wasn't just Trevor. Soon enough, others nodded. Some friends, some foes, and even a few who barely knew her. The unexpected solidarity pushed away the shadows that loomed over her. The laughter transformed into a hesitant sense of camaraderie, each face now lit with a blend of curiosity and determination. Mia felt the knot in her stomach loosen, replaced by a flutter of hope that burst like fireworks. She exchanged a look with Sarah, both of them grinning wide, the fears ebbing away. "Let's meet tomorrow after school," Mia instructed, her voice rising with confidence. "We need to spread the word, get people involved. This is just the beginning." As the crowd began to disperse, Mia felt the weight of each step ease off her shoulders. She had faced the uncertain, and instead of crumbling, she had stood her ground. When she turned to leave, Sarah hurried to her side, her eyes alight. "You were amazing. I can't believe what just happened. What do you think will come out of this?" Mia shrugged, a smile breaking across her face, the energy buzzing through her like electricity. "I don't know, but I feel like we're on the brink of something big. If we can keep this momentum going, who knows what could happen." As they walked toward the parking lot, the sunset painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, warmth enveloping them. Mia's thoughts danced to the possibilities, the ripple of change swirling in her mind. But in the back of her mind, a nagging thought crept in. Would they truly be able to overcome their differences? Or would old grudges resurface when the spotlight dimmed? Tomorrow lay ahead, holding promises and potential, but also uncertainty. What would happen when the real work began? The next day arrived quietly, a fresh start cloaked in the same anxieties that had occupied Mia's mind throughout the night. The school bell rang, echoing in the corridors as students shuffled to their classes, faces buried in phones. Was yesterday's spark just a flicker? Mia sat alone in her first period class, hands fidgeting with the edge of her notebook. She glanced around, searching for signs of support, but most were lost in their worlds. Trevor walked in late, sliding into the seat next to her, his expression unreadable. "Ready for today?" she asked, attempting to inject levity, but her voice trembled with uncertainty. "Yeah, I guess. But honestly, what happens if no one comes?" he replied, worry creeping into his tone. Mia shrugged, wrestling with her own doubts. "Maybe we're asking too much. But it could change everything. I don't know how, but it feels right," she concluded, willing herself to hold on to that ember of hope. As lunchtime approached, she and Sarah paced in front of the cafeteria, their eyes scanning for familiar faces. Mia's heart sank as they stood waiting. What if they'd all forgotten about their plan? What if today was a disappointment? Then, a flicker of movement caught her attention. One by one, students began to trickle in, whispering among themselves, casting curious glances at Mia and Sarah. A timid wave, friendly smiles, willingness simmering just beneath the surface. "See? They're showing up," Sarah exclaimed, her excitement contagious. Mia watched as more students gathered, a blend of bold and shy. Then, Trevor arrived, flanked by a couple of his friends. He shot Mia a look that spoke volumes, disbelief evolving into shared purpose. Maybe they were making history today. "All right, listen up, everyone. We're about to kick off something different." Mia stood on a bench, gaining height to grab their attention. The buzz silenced as students shifted focus. "This isn't just about us, or yesterday. It's about our entire school and community. Let's share our stories, not just our struggles, but our triumphs, our dreams, the things that connect us all." A murmur surged through the crowd, an electric mix of skepticism and interest. Mia felt that familiar stir of nervous energy. The stakes had never felt higher. Then, a brave voice emerged from the back. "What if sharing hurts? What if we're judged?" Mia's heart pounded. "That's exactly why we need this. Everyone's been hurt. Let's give each other reasons to heal instead of isolating." More voices joined, some directly challenging her, others supporting her. What had started as fragile enthusiasm quickly blossomed into a spirited debate. Faces she recognized, faces she didn't, merged in a cacophony of emotion and passion. "Tonight, let's meet at the park," Trevor shouted, as voices united in agreement. "We'll create something real and genuine." As they broke, Mia felt a wave of exhilaration wash over her, pumping through her veins like adrenaline. The thrill of possibility surged, yet it clung to the edge of fear. Would they truly bare their souls? Would it lead to understanding or more division? Mia caught Sarah's eye, and they shared a wide grin, happiness flooding their hearts. It was working. Together they were on the cusp of change. Yet in that moment of joy, a new worry took root. What if someone's story was too deep, too painful for this moment? What if the weight of shared burdens became too heavy to bear? The park loomed on the horizon, buzzing with potential, and Mia wondered, could they handle the truth underneath it all? What secrets might emerge that could change everything? The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the park. Mia and Sarah arrived early, their hearts racing with a mix of anticipation and dread. They found a space under a sprawling oak tree, the leaves whispering in the gentle breeze. Mia looked around, still feeling that flutter in her stomach. What if no one comes? What if this all falls apart? "Relax," Sarah said with a comforting grin. "They will come. Just think about all the energy from earlier. It felt real." Mia nodded, but uncertainty gnawed at her. What if all those courageous moments in the cafeteria were just fleeting sparks, moments lost in vast seas of inaction? Slowly, students began to arrive. Some strolled in with friends, giggling nervously, while others approached alone, their eyes crawling over the gathered crowd. Mia could feel the energy shift as they began to fill the space, each one bearing invisible burdens of their own. "All right, Mia, it's time," Sarah said, nudging her forward. It was a tiny gesture filled with encouragement, yet it felt monumental. Mia cleared her throat, heart thrumming in her chest. "Hey, everyone," she started, her voice wavering slightly. "Thank you all for being here today. This is about being real with one another." The group settled into an impromptu circle, the atmosphere thick with hope and trepidation. Mia's gaze drifted from face to face, her mind a swirl of worries. What if someone's truth overflowed with so much pain that it became unbearable? "Let's share one thing," Trevor suggested, stepping in next to Mia, his presence reassuring. "Something that shaped us. Maybe something we've kept inside." A hushed silence fell, replaced only by the rhythmic sounds of a nearby fountain. One girl, Marissa, raised her hand tentatively. "I'll go," she said softly. As she spoke, her story unfolded, detailing her struggles with depression, the isolation that had clouded her high school experience. Mia felt her heart crack for Marissa. It took immense courage to share such raw emotion, but as she continued, Mia noticed something incredible. Students began nodding in understanding, sharing silent expressions of solidarity. When Marissa finished, there was a lingering moment of stillness in the air, transformed by empathy. Before Mia could process it, a boy from the back stood up. Liam, a quiet figure known for his smirk, confidently grinned in Marissa's direction and shared his own challenge, feeling invisible in a place where everyone else seemed to shine so brightly. More voices came, each story uniquely painful, yet beautifully shared. Each new revelation flickered like candles lighting a dark room. Mia felt weight lifting. The collective experiences seemed to dissolve the boundaries they had all built. As the sharing continued, Mia realized the stories weren't about the pain. They were about healing and hope. As laughter interspersed moments of vulnerability, it became clear. They were unveiling a connection none of them had known existed. But just as a wave of relief settled over Mia, another wave of fear washed through her. What if someone's truth came tumbling out like a dark storm? What if scars were too deep, feelings too intense? And then, as the sun set behind the horizon and the air grew cooler, another voice rang out. This time, it wasn't just a voice of sharing, it was an urgent plea. "I can't take it anymore," a girl cried, breaking Mia's fragile sense of calm. Mia spun toward the source. What was about to unfold could either deepen their bond or tear it apart irreparably. Would they be able to embrace what came next? Everyone turned, the air heavy with a mix of fear and concern. A girl Mia recognized from her biology class, tiny and usually so quiet, stood with tears streaming down her cheeks. Her hands shook, clutching a worn backpack like a lifeline. "I'm sorry. It's just, everything's too much," she said, her voice choked with emotion. Mia's heart raced. This wasn't just another story. This was a breaking point. "I can't keep pretending everything is okay," the girl continued, her eyes darting around the circle, seeking comfort yet clearly terrified of it. "My parents, they don't understand me. They think I can just fix everything with a smile. But they don't see me. They don't see what I feel inside." A few students shifted uneasily, their denial of their own struggles becoming palpable. Mia wanted to reach out, to embrace the girl, but she felt rooted in place. Her own emotions bubbled beneath the surface, a tide trying desperately to break free. "I feel so alone," the girl whispered, her voice cracking like glass. "Like no one cares." "That's not true," Mia found herself saying. She stepped closer, her voice steadier than she felt. "We care. We're here. You're not alone in this." There was a charged silence in the group, as if everyone held their collective breath, waiting for what would come next. The girl's expression flickered between disbelief and relief. "A lot of us feel lost," Trevor chimed in, his eyes softening. "You don't have to go through this by yourself. We can help each other." The unity resonated through the group. It was a fragile thread, but they all grasped it, hands reaching out. By sharing, they were weaving a tapestry of understanding that overshadowed fear. Just then, Mia noticed Liam step forward, his brow furrowing with concern. "And sometimes it feels like there's no way out. I've been there too. You think it's all dark, but it isn't." His voice was stronger now, laced with sincerity. "We can find the light together." Mia felt something shift in the air, something powerful and hopeful. In a matter of moments, there was an outpouring. More voices joined, sharing their vulnerabilities, their fears, and their crumbling facades. As they spoke, Mia realized this circle was becoming a sanctuary, a space that allowed for pain, but also for healing. Each story built a bridge, one that pulled them closer. Tears were shed, yes, but so were laughs. A release, a relief, like rain after a long drought. But the atmosphere suddenly shifted when the girl took a deep breath, her gaze more focused now, as if she had come to a decision. "I want to try," she said softly, wiping her tears. "I can't promise it will be easy, but today, I want to start being real, with all of you." With those words, a sense of courage spread through the group like wildfire. They were beginning to open doors that had long been shut. Mia felt a surge of emotion, a warmth spreading through her chest. They could do this together. They were stronger together. As the gathering continued to speak openly about their experiences, Mia felt like a weight had been lifted, but her heart still thrummed with urgency. Could they truly face what would come after this moment? Would the stories that had surfaced continue to breathe life into their connection, or would the harshness of reality threaten to tear them apart? Then out of the corner of her eye, Mia spotted a figure approaching in the distance, someone she never expected. What would they bring to this fragile moment of connection? Mia squinted, her heart skipping a beat. The figure growing closer was unmistakable. It was Emily, a once familiar face from their childhood, now a high school junior woefully absent from Mia's life for the past few years. Hadn't they used to be inseparable? What had happened? As Emily approached, Mia felt a swirl of emotions catch in her throat. Emily's casual demeanor clashed with the seriousness of the gathering. She wore a bright, carefree smile, but as her eyes scanned the circle, uncertainty flickered across her features. She held a giant bag of chips in one hand, and the other fiddled nervously with the strap of her backpack. Things had changed, and in that moment, Mia realized she didn't know what the smile was hiding. "Hey, looks like a party," Emily said, her voice bright but thin. The attempt at casualness fell flat against the heaviness of the moment. Anyone who was part of the circle had clearly come together for something deeper. "What's going on?" Emily asked, tilting her head. Her playful tone couldn't mask her curiosity. Mia took a step forward, feeling the heat of everyone's attention on her as she transformed from bystander to messenger. "We're just sharing some things. You know, being real." She felt her throat tighten as her own past washed over her, wishing desperately that Emily could understand. The circle, once glowing with courage, shifted now. The whispers faded and anxious glances passed between friends. Emily didn't seem to notice. She took a step in, still holding her snacks like an offering. But it felt wrong. Who wanted chips when they were all trying to feed their broken hearts? "Mia, is everything all right?" she asked, concern knitting her brows together. Her words held genuine interest, but they also felt like an interruption. Mia hesitated. "Not everything. No." She looked around at her friends, their faces lined with emotion and vulnerability. They were losing momentum. She didn't want to derail this moment. "We're just figuring things out together." "Well, that's what friends are for," Emily chirped, though her smile faltered slightly. "If you have problems, I'm here. I mean, I know we haven't really talked lately, but Emily," Liam interrupted gently, his voice steady. "We're digging deep here. It's not just about problems. It's about feeling safe to be ourselves. Can we talk about it later?" Mia felt the wave of awkwardness. Emily's spirit had always been infectious. But Leah was right. The moment was now. "Maybe it's better if I leave," Emily offered, the light in her eyes dimming. She looked almost defeated, suddenly unsure of her place among them. "No!" Mia quickly stepped in, holding out her hand. "Stay. Everyone deserves to be here." She knew the value of everyone's voice, even the ones that didn't seem to fit the puzzle. Emily's gaze flickered between Mia and the others. "Okay, if you want. But, I also brought chocolate bars." A chuckle rippled through the circle, just a hint of relief. Mia felt the crack in the tension widen, and she smiled a bit. Maybe it was worth it. Maybe opening up would work for Emily too. Yet beneath her cautious optimism, another feeling swelled. Was this the right time to reopen an old friendship? Could a spark from past glory shine light on present struggles? She had to tread carefully. It felt like they were balancing on the edge of something new and fragile. Just then, Emily took a deep breath, the weight of the moment mirrored in her eyes. "Okay, I want to try something too." What was she about to reveal? Would this unexpected twist draw them closer together, or expose old wounds? Mia's heart raced as she braced for the unexpected, hope mingling with the fear of what might follow. Emily's voice wavered slightly, but her resolve seemed to strengthen. "I know we haven't really talked much lately, but I've been going through some stuff too. And I think it's time I share." She took a small step forward, the bag of chips forgotten at her side. The brightness in her eyes dimmed, and Mia could see the struggle hidden beneath the surface. The circle leaned in, sensing the shift. The atmosphere was electric, charged with a mix of anticipation and a shared heartbeat. "I never really felt like I fit in anywhere after middle school. I lost track of all of you, and I thought I'd be okay, but honestly..." Her voice trailed off. and a flicker of vulnerability showed in her expression, pulling at Mia's heartstrings. Mia could feel her own breath caught in her throat, her memories tumbling back to long days spent giggling in the park or sharing dreams about growing up. "You always belonged with us, Em," she murmured, willing the words to reach her, to erase the distance that time had carved between them. Emily blinked, the shimmer of unshed tears pooling in her eyes. "It just felt like everyone grew up so fast, and I felt left behind, like I was stuck while everyone else was moving on. It was hard." Mia's heart ached. She knew that feeling too well, that sense of drifting while life whirled at full speed around her. But hearing it from Emily made it all the more real. "You're not alone in that," Mia spoke softly, her voice catching the attention of the rest. "We've all felt lost at times. You're here now, and that's what matters." A soft murmur of agreement rippled through their friends, a balm of shared understanding that eased the tension gripping the group. Seeing Emily nod, Mia felt her hope spark. "You can tell us anything. We want to support you," Leah chimed in, her voice a steady current of encouragement. "Yeah," Liam added, the warmth in his tone contagious. "We've carved out this space for each other. Share what you want. This is safe ground." Emily took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "Okay, so last year, I found out my parents are separating." The words hung heavy in the air. It felt like a shockwave echoed throughout the group. Mia felt her heart twist, knowing how deeply separation could wound. "I'm really sorry, Emily. That's tough." Emily nodded, her hands trembling slightly. "It hit me hard. I thought everything was fine, and suddenly it felt like my whole world was crashing down. I kept pretending like it didn't affect me, but it did. I lost my way." Mia sensed the connection growing, the walls around Emily slowly crumbling. "We're so much more than our struggles. It shapes us, sure, but it doesn't define us. You can redefine who you are at any moment." "Yeah," Leah supported. "You've got us. We're here to remind you that you're so much more than just the hard stuff." Emily's face brightened a little, almost like the sun peeking through clouds. "I've missed sharing moments like this. Moments where we can be honest with each other," she said, her voice steadier now. The mood shifted, a warm glow spreading through the circle as they exchanged glances of approval and solidarity. As they settled into silence, an unspoken understanding blossomed among them. Yet Mia's heart was heavy with an undeniable tension. Emily's revelations were just the beginning. Maybe, Mia thought, there's more we need to confront, more buried beneath the surface. Just then, Emily shifted her weight, looking around at the group, a question forming in her eyes. "What about you guys? What are you hiding?" Mia's pulse quickened. The shadows of their own buried secrets loomed, ready to surface. One question turned into an unspoken challenge. How deep were they willing to dive for each other? Would they all come out stronger or shattered? Mia felt the gravity of the moment sink in, wondering what was waiting to be uncovered next. What hidden wisdom still lay beneath the surface of their pasts? Tension hung in the air like the calm before a storm. Emily's question lingered, echoing among them, daring each person to look within and reveal their truths. Mia could feel her heart racing, equal parts fear and exhilaration coursing through her veins. A boy named Jake shifted uncomfortably, his hands stuffed deep in his pockets. "I guess I've been a jerk lately." His words came out as a whisper, barely breaking the tension. "I just thought if I acted tough, I wouldn't have to feel, but I'm tired of pretending." Murmurs of understanding rippled through the group. It was like a chain reaction. One voice broke the facade, allowing others to step into the light too. "I get that," Trevor added, his gaze firm but warm. "I thought if I pushed people away, I'd protect myself, but it only left me feeling lonelier." Each revelation peeled back another layer of vulnerability. A few more students joined in, sharing personal struggles, their once hidden fears and insecurities spilling out like ink from a broken pen. Mia soaked in their honesty, the sense of newfound unity growing stronger with every shared secret. These stories were bringing them together, carving pathways through their pasts, allowing healing to start. "We all struggle," Leah said, her voice steady. "We're drawn together by our hardships. If we tackle them side by side, we can grow stronger." Mia glanced around, feeling hope swell in her chest as she saw nods of agreement. Each story shared knit them tighter, forming an unbreakable bond, a community united in authenticity, vulnerable yet strong. But then, Mia felt a weight settle back in her heart. Episode after episode of triumph surrounded them, but what about her own buried secrets? The cracks in her foundation threatened to show. Would her voice quaver? Would the warmth of their support still surround her when she unveiled her own truth? "I think—" She hesitated, anxiety bubbling within her. "I think I've been afraid too." She took a deep breath, nerves quaking as she looked into each pair of eyes. They shone with encouragement. "Last year, my mom lost her job. We barely made it through. I felt ashamed, embarrassed even, like I was failing too. The pressure, it was suffocating. I wanted to be strong for her, and didn't want anyone to know we needed help." A wave of silence followed, permeating the air, the weight of her truth hanging there. In that moment, Mia felt exposed, ribs trembling under the spotlight of their gazes. "I felt that burden, Mia." Marissa spoke softly, her expression filled with empathy. "That pressure of needing to be strong, it's suffocating. But you're not alone. We all want to support each other through this." The tears that had pooled in Mia's eyes flowed freely now, burning hot against her cheeks, but liberating. "Thank you," she whispered, relief flooding her veins. "For a while, I thought I had to face this alone." "Everything we've gone through is a part of us, but it doesn't have to dictate our future," Liam reminded her, his kind voice wrapping around them like a warm blanket. With that, something shifted, an unspoken agreement solidifying among them. These stories were building a strong foundation. Emily's eyes sparkled with fresh understanding. "We need to keep this going. This can't just be a one-time gig. Let's create a forum, a way to keep sharing our stories, a space where we can always come together." The idea sparked excitement in Mia's heart, an electric thrill surging through the group. "Yes!" Trevor exclaimed, his voice bouncing with enthusiasm. "We can meet regularly and invite other students, share our victories and struggles, make it a space for everyone." Mia felt warmth swell in her chest, pulsing with unity. This was it. They weren't just creating an event. They were cultivating a home, a community built on stories, a foundation of empathy. In that moment, everything came full circle, and Mia felt lighter. They weren't just reaching for a better future. They were crafting it deer by deer together. As the sun dipped lower, casting vibrant hues over the park, the feelings of healing, camaraderie, and promise surrounded them like a warm embrace. "Let's do it," Mia declared, a radiant smile stretching across her face. "Together, let's change our narrative." Cheers erupted, echoing into the sky, resonating a powerful resolve that lit the edges of their hearts. They were students turning into storytellers, redefining what it meant to belong. In that seemingly simple moment, Mia had found her voice, not just for herself, but for her community. Each step forward was heavier with meaning, inscribed in their hearts, a promise to always listen, to share, and to rise above the struggles that sought to divide them. Hope sparkled in the air as they made plans to meet again. Their futures stretched before them, the possibilities infinite. Mia looked around, catching Sarah's eye and exchanging knowing smiles. At that moment, She realized her previous fears of betrayal and jealousy had been transformed into bonds of strength and unity. And as twilight settled around them, one thing was clear. Together, they would rise. Together, they would tell their stories, painting bright paths through even the darkest days. This was merely the beginning of something incredible. Roots that would grow deep and bear fruit for years to come. If an 11-year-old could ignite change with a spark of determination and storytelling, what else would they accomplish together? The world was waiting for their stories, waiting for their transformation. Now, it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the magic alive. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second, to be part of this incredible community.